Have you ever caught yourself imagining a conversation that never actually happened? Maybe you're in the shower, walking alone, or just lying in bed at night, and suddenly your mind creates this completely detailed scene. You're arguing with someone, explaining yourself perfectly, or imagining a future moment where everything finally goes right. And the strange part is, none of it is real, but the emotions feel real. You can feel excitement, anger, anxiety, sometimes even relief, from a conversation that only exists inside your head. And if you do this often, you've probably wondered at some point, why do I keep imagining scenarios that never happen? Well, psychologically, this is actually far more common than people think. But it's not just random imagination. In many cases, it's your brain trying to solve something deeper. People who imagine fake scenarios often do it automatically. You're walking somewhere, and suddenly you're imagining explaining something to someone. Or maybe you're replaying a situation from earlier in the day. Except this time, in your imagination, you say the perfect thing, the perfect response, the perfect comeback. Sometimes you imagine success, recognition, future achievements. And other times, it's the complete opposite. Your mind starts creating worst-case scenarios about things that haven't even happened yet. You imagine things going wrong, people misunderstanding you, arguments that might never actually happen. And the strange thing is, your brain treats these imaginary situations almost like real experiences. Your heart rate changes. Your emotions react. Your body responds. Psychologists sometimes call this mental simulation. Your brain constantly runs simulations of possible situations. And honestly, that's one of the reasons humans are so good at planning. Before you do something in real life, your brain quietly runs different possibilities in the background. In a way, your imagination acts like a rehearsal space. Athletes do this intentionally. They visualize their performance before a competition. But for many people, this simulation system becomes active even when it doesn't need to be. And that's where these imaginary scenarios start appearing throughout the day. But there's another layer most people don't notice, because people who frequently imagine fake scenarios usually aren't doing it just for entertainment. Their mind is trying to resolve something emotionally. Sometimes it's unfinished conversations. Sometimes it's anxiety about the future. And sometimes it's a quiet desire for control. And that idea becomes really important. Because once you notice this pattern, you start understanding why certain people imagine scenarios much more often than others. Psychologists usually notice three common patterns. The first is argument scenarios. This is where someone imagines explaining themselves, defending their point, or finally winning an argument. Usually, it's a conversation they wish had gone differently. The second type is future success scenarios. This is where people imagine achieving something important, getting recognition, proving themselves. And while these scenarios can feel motivating, they can also become a form of mental escape. And then there's the third type, worst-case scenarios. This is where the mind imagines negative outcomes before they even happen. What if they misunderstand me? What if I fail? What if everything goes wrong? Your brain starts preparing responses to situations that might never even occur. People who imagine fake scenarios often have one thing in common. They spend a lot of time thinking about how other people perceive them. Not necessarily because they want attention, but because their brain is constantly analyzing social situations. So the mind creates imaginary conversations as a way to process those interactions. It's almost like your brain is always practicing for social situations. But when this habit becomes too frequent, imagination stops being a tool and starts becoming a loop. Sometimes these imagined scenarios become more satisfying than real interactions. So if you're someone who constantly imagines fake scenarios, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. In many cases, it simply means your brain is highly active in processing possibilities. You're mentally rehearsing, analyzing, trying to understand the world around you.